It's the one place in Las Vegas where we've honored the founding families of our town, staked our claim on space exploration, rocked a sense of discovery, and there are many more stories at the Springs Preserve, where all that matters is what's elemental. Our lively Boomtown exhibit gives guests a little taste of life back in 1905, from home life to banking and leisure. But it's the insight from a few founding families of Las Vegas that really reminds us that our town has always been and still remains open for business. The Von Tobel, Chavez, and Foley families put down deep roots here and were able to survive and thrive by selling lumber, mining gypsum, and practicing law.
My grandfather had lumber in his blood. His family had lumber businesses in Illinois, where he was from. And he hated the cold. He left Illinois and went to California because it was warm. And he heard about the land auction in Las Vegas. And if you came to Las Vegas and bought a parcel of land, they would reimburse you for the ticket. So he bought a parcel of land, and I suppose that's where the first store was.
It was a very specific thing that brought the Chavez family to Las Vegas in the early 20s. The reason was that my grandfather, Jesus Chavez, was made the mine foreman of the U.S. gypsum mine that was then in Arden, which at that time was on the outskirts of the city, but today it's Jones and Blue Diamond Road. He was very respected and well known for his work as a supervisor and foreman, and he got this, as the family always said, a very well-paying job.
We have 92 consecutive years of public service. Running for office, being appointed or elected to judgeships, attorney generals, state senators, it's really wonderful. And so, in fact, our family motto is that we serve. And we certainly have, and we're quite proud of it.
It was just such dedication to work and service that created this visionary city, and a place where once there were little more than dreams to greet the first citizens.
And I'm sure it was just dust and dirt, a little awful town. And he originally had a partner in the lumber business, and he just bought his partner out because there wasn't enough business to support his family and anybody else. The business was so slow. And he always said he would have left, but really he couldn't afford to leave. He had his family then. And business didn't really pick up until the dam was built. And that's when things got so much better for him, for the whole town.
And so these founding families have seen the booms, the busts, and the bombs of a momentous Las Vegas century.
In those early years in the 50s when I was a kid, my dad would pick me up and put me on the car, and we'd watch the atomic blast coming from the Nevada test site.
Life in Las Vegas was not just about what they did, but the way they lived and the experiences they had. And that includes the full array of family accomplishments, from the personal to the professional and even the monumental.
They all attended Fifth Street Elementary School and Las Vegas High School, and all graduated from there.
The store was toured by people from all over the world. I guess they'd be in Las Vegas, maybe visiting or conventions or whatever, and they would come visit the store because it was the first indoor lumber yard ever.
Well, I know it's always a privilege for families to receive their name on a school, but we have the Federal Building, the Foley Federal Building. It's the only federal building in the United States that's named after a family instead of a person, because my grandfather was a federal judge, his oldest son was a federal judge, and all the rest of his boys, he only had 5 boys, no girls, they all held elective office.
It's a testament to the business sense and the belief of these desert adopting families that they're still devoted to a town where they found opportunities and made them too.
The Chavez family were proud, but always humble, yet they all had an appreciation for the fact that there weren't a lot of Mexican families in Las Vegas in those early years. And to be recognized as a founding family would really mean something to every single one of them.
And one of the really wonderful things is the families all are still in Nevada doing business. And so it's not those that just came, made a quick buck and left. They're all still here, and it's very exciting. We love our home. We love Las Vegas.
Discover the faces and places of the past at Boomtown 1905, our recreated historical streetscape where you can stroll back in time and learn more about the humble beginnings of Las Vegas through engaging interpretive exhibits. Visit springspreserve.org for more information. In popular culture, space may be known as the final frontier, but from the moon landings to the plans for human travel to Mars, exploration of the universe by astronauts is now the next frontier that's as nearby as the launch of our summer exhibit at the Springs Preserve.
This exhibit is very family-friendly, a younger target audience, and it's also very, very active and physical. They're going to be doing and touching and moving throughout the whole exhibit.
Which is the best way to turn the fantasies of children into the future realities of their actual space travel.
Space is so fascinating because it's so hard to wrap your brain around some of these concepts and some of the sensations and experiences of what it might be like to be an astronaut.
Exhibit goers can choose to pull a few G's at liftoff.
This is a very active exhibit, very physical, so kids get to feel what it's like to experience increased G-force.
Even dressing for successful space exploration can be a deceptively complex adventure.
So this exhibit shows us some of the things that we take for granted that are really easy for us to do here on Earth that are a little bit harder to do as an astronaut, like getting dressed, eating, and even using the toilet. So it gives kids an opportunity to kind of see what that might be like to be in the astronaut's shoes. And then it also shows them what it's like to physically and mentally have to prepare to be an astronaut. So some of the physical challenges and some of the brain teaser mental challenges of becoming an astronaut before going to space.
But the biggest body and brain teasers of an exhibit like this may be giving kids the experiences to imagine living somewhere other than Earth.
I think one of the things that makes the exhibit so relatable is that it's the day-to-day in and out activities and experiences of being an astronaut. So just everything from really simple tasks to the job that they have to do as an astronaut in space. So it isn't so much about the vast unknown things that we don't know about space. It's about the day-to-day, what it's like to actually be an astronaut. So kids get to kind of put themselves in that position and in that place and think about the things that they have to do to survive on a day-to-day basis.
Because this could be the kind of summer vacation day trip that will prepare them for their future explorations of a lifetime.
I think one of the things that we want people, especially kids, to walk away from this exhibit feeling is a fascination for science and the technology and all the amazing things that go into traveling through into space, and sparking that interest in science and technology in kids so that they want to pursue those interests on their own and learn more and be hungry for that knowledge.
Come and meet some of our amazing desert-adapted critters as you explore the Origin Museum and learn the unique strategies these animals in the desert use to survive. This is a drop-in style experience anyone can enjoy. Demonstrations will be held every Saturday and Sunday from June 10th through September 24th at 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. For more information, visit springspreserve.org. The flow of water is so essential to the flourishing of the modern American West that the engineering feats behind its wide distribution are remarkable accomplishments in their own right. And our current exhibit of exquisite black and white pictures by Cody Brothers also lavishes deserved attention on the Art Deco designs of the many desert water facilities that make both form and function extremely hydrodynamic.
What we asked Cody to do is to go out around the region and look at a number of these water infrastructure buildings that had, in this case, Art Deco design. That was the predominant design aesthetic that was happening during this period. And basically, he went out and shot these buildings, some of which folks are familiar with and some of which folks most likely have never seen, nor do they even know they exist, quite frankly.
Whether they're famous or almost anonymous, these Art Deco artifacts seem to be made for Cody Brothers equipment and capabilities.
Infrared film lends itself to being able to have a lot of glow with anything that's receiving a lot of heat, and then the way it's filtered makes the skies black, make the clouds really come out, and reflections like that really come out.
But his comprehensive study of each subject rewarded him with some truly novel shots of even the most photographed facilities, such as Hoover Dam and its spillways.
I researched this project quite a bit and looked at a lot of photography that was done at Hoover Dam in these locations. Walking around the dam on every side, I kept saying, well, I need to be there, I need to be there. And once I got the clearance, it was that one of those things like aha moment of I was right, you know. So
Hoover Dam was only one stop on the watercourse that had him photographing his way across the Mojave.
This show looks at the Colorado River water infrastructure. So it's not just specific to Las Vegas. We're talking about some facilities in California, right on the border of Arizona, etc.
The pumping stations out through the Mojave are all relatively the same, but the ones like at Lake Havasu, the initial pipes were incredible.
As was the celebrated Metropolitan Water Building in Los Angeles.
So it's an iconic building. It's been in a number of films over the years.
And it still gets the Hollywood treatment of unending attention, which made it a temperamental star to film.
The Metro building there in LA was a very difficult shot. People constantly going out in front. They constantly had construction out in front. And getting just the lighting right on that building was really tough.
But it was worth it to preserve in pictures one more treasure of the Art Deco style that refugees brought out of Nazi Germany to grace the Western landscape.
It was characterized by a lot of sleek lines, and it was distinct from a lot of other design aesthetics in that it didn't have the kind of ornamental embellishments that we think of with a lot of European buildings, for example.
Which makes it an undeniably beautiful aesthetic, while at the same time a completely functional technology and therefore the best possible dynamic when it comes to water delivery.
It's an incredible thing to see because you just really realize in the day and the age that we are, that the value of that kind of architecture is kind of non-existent. And the details that they took, the attention to detail that they took is just amazing.
Our Botanical Garden Supervisor, Brandy Ide, has brought to the Springs Preserve a passion for nature, a liberal arts education, and a professional career in horticulture that's perfectly suited to lead a team which is always adapting to a landscape where the only thing that's certain is wondrous changes.
So I loved spending time outside as a kid. I was most of the time, 90% of the time outside playing all the time in the rain and cold and sun. Didn't matter, loved it. And my love for growing plants actually developed as I was in college and had a lot more opportunity to do that with vegetable gardening and doing internships and traveling and working in gardens elsewhere. And the main consistent theme that ran throughout all of my life was my love for plants and the environment. And so I ended up working at the Desert Botanical Garden in Phoenix, the UC Berkeley Botanic Garden in California, and also the zoo in Phoenix, overseeing the care of horticulture and how it relates to plants there. And now I'm at the Springs Preserve.
For her, it's the ideal combination of indoor and outside office work.
And so I get the opportunity to walk around this property and observe what's going on a daily basis, which is really a fantastic experience for me. I absolutely love it and get to call that my job.
Which is truly a labor of love because even the best adapted desert plants require incessant attention.
So the gardens team has a lot on their plates. They are doing any number of things that really varies from major irrigation repairs, which is something that is always ongoing in a place as large as this, to very detailed work where they are assessing the health of a plant. They are cleaning out pods from a plant. So everything in between, from deciding what needs to be regenerated and grown out, things that need to be repropagated, replanting, we're designing areas, they're just doing regular ongoing maintenance. digging holes. I mean, it's the whole gamut, and so they have a lot of experience and skill that they bring to the job that they do.
It takes just such a highly qualified team to create and maintain a collection of cactus and succulents that's one of Brandy's favorites.
They're amazing in how they can sustain the extremes that they have to endure in the environment, and so I'm always just in love with observing them throughout all of their cycles.
And this gathering of desert plants has also been widely admired by the gardening world.
Our Mojave Cactus and Succulent Collection is nationally accredited through the American Public Gardens Association. And so public gardens get together and decide which collections they can host that will have several criteria met that these plants will fulfill. And so this is really important, and important scientifically, because we have a diversity of plants, we have historic data on where they came from and their locality, which is really incredibly important, particularly for sensitive species.
But it's also just one among a variety of our different themed gardens that allow us to show and share our botanical versatility.
So we have an enabling garden, we've got rose garden, vegetable garden, herb garden, wildlife garden, tons of different gardens that you can come and see depending on what your interests are. And of course these can all be mixed and matched, but they're really unique and individual and can really showcase a theme if that is something that you're looking to achieve in your own place.
And can accomplish with the readily available guidance of our easily accessible garden staff and volunteers.
So on a normal day, you will often encounter one or many of our staff working out in the gardens, and that's a perfect opportunity to ask those questions that you've had. We also have the email address that you can contact if you have to send pictures or specific questions, and our gardeners answer those questions as well. We offer free tours on the weekends of the gardens 2 to 3 times a day, and those are given by volunteers and experts and staff that can answer many questions that you may have. So in addition to that, we have classes, tours, and workshops that we offer throughout the year, ranging in everything from irrigation installation and basics to xeriscape and pollinator gardens, vegetable gardens, any number of topics.
In an endless garden of wonders that Brandy and our botanical miracle workers are nurturing for guests to discover over and over again.
It's always wonderful to overhear people commenting on what they learned or what they saw or what they noticed that maybe they hadn't in the past. So whether it's somebody saying, oh my goodness, did you see this flower? Did you see this bug? Did you know that this is, a native pollinator? Those things are really amazing to me, because as we connect with our environment, we understand it better, and if we understand something, we're more apt to protect it. And so again, it just ties to our whole responsibility for helping to care for nature and respect and appreciate it.
It's amazing how our incredibly varied group of volunteers can raise their many voices as a single chorus of praise for the preserve through oohs and ahs, wows and awesomes. I love this, and I've learned that. And most of all, I've given so much back by being here.
When I was getting ready to retire, I wanted a place where I could spend my time and volunteer, and the Springs Preserve was a great place. And I was also a master gardener, so they had a lot of need for people out here that had those skills as well.
I really love teaching people about the history of Las Vegas. That's one of my passions. Sustainability is one of my passions, so that's another reason that drew me here.
The fact that I wasn't from Vegas and I didn't know anything about Vegas. I didn't know the history. I knew the typical casino and bright lights scenario. So I thought, not only could I do something for the community and give something back, but I could learn something. And that was important to me, just to learn more about the city I was going to live in.
So he's a reptile. When I moved to Vegas 4 years ago, I needed a place to come and relax, and Springs Preserve seemed like a good spot. Got my membership and started hiking the trails and looking at the gardens and enjoying myself, and talked to the volunteers here, and everybody was having a good time.
This is a cool place to volunteer. We come here with my family, and I was like, okay, well, it'd be really fun. And I signed up and I fell in love. I love coming here. It's awesome.
I really love it in Origin. I love it in the traveling exhibit because it's fun to educate people and show them what's new here. I've done the butterfly habitat, which has been a lot of fun because people get so excited to see the butterflies, and they're wily little things, so that's a lot of fun.
I've worked both for archaeology, for curation. I've done school tours. Twice a year when we do butterflies, I do butterflies. Butterflies is one of my favorites, but Origin's my home.
And I finally settled in on the Origin Museum, so I'm kind of a goodwill ambassador. You meet and greet people.
I've done the train, I do the butterfly house all the time, I do special events. So I'm kind of a universal volunteer. They use me wherever they need me, and I love it out here.
Well, I love seeing like different people that come in and seeing like the wow on their face when they're like, wow, I didn't really know this stuff was here, and you know what Vegas has to offer.
A lot of people, local people come out and you talk to them and they all love the place. They all love it. Once they come here, they go, wow, this is a great place to come. And they come back, and you see a lot of people repeat all the time.
In Boomtown, I was talking to a gentleman and he was telling me how he actually owns and rents out 8 of the Sears and Roebuck houses that they built down there when the railroad was built. So I was like, oh, like that's amazing. You're living in history.
I feel in a way the Springs has given something to me. It's taught me a lot about the history of the valley. There's always something new going on here, so there's always something new to learn. And I just enjoy giving it back to others. That's kind of my satisfaction.
The state of Nevada is such a geological wonderland that the discovery of crystals and minerals is a rich resource for study and fun here at the Springs Preserve, where our Crack a Geode and mining sluice activities reward a little hard labor with the possibility of discovering some real rock stars.
Geodes are a empty space inside rock in which minerals have gotten in and started to grow untouched for thousands of years. So if you were to take a hammer to one of them and break it open, inside you'd find a matrix of different minerals and crystals. It is a sparkly treasure.
The stellar interior of these geodes can tell a dazzling tale about the fiery formation of the earth or the fascinating prehistoric animals that once made Nevada home.
It's a unique opportunity to come to this preserve and see them because you can find them. And here in Nevada, that we have geodes here tells a lot about the geologic history of the state of Nevada. Most of them are formed around volcanoes. Some of them are fossilized ancient creatures like we have here. But to discover one that has this pure and clean a crystal structure inside, it's actually kind of a rare experience. And so for people to come in and be able to open one up and discover the treasures inside is a lot of fun and a neat experience.
It's easy for anyone to join in the geode cracking, but picking a star rock takes a little logic and luck.
Someone would come in and they'd want to crack open a geode. They just got to grab a ticket, bring it over to us. We'll bring them over and give them a choice of geodes to choose from. We teach them a little bit about them, about how to choose a good one that's not too heavy, something that's a little bit light, something that feels hollow inside. They pick one out that works for them, that speaks to them, and then they get to take a hammer to it and break it open and discover what's inside of it.
Sluicing is a more modern technology, but just as valuable in operation for seeing what wealth will pan out in the wash.
All right, so take it and move it back and forth. Go ahead, you guys. Mining played such an important role in forming the state of Nevada. This is an opportunity for kids of all ages to come down and get a sampling of what it is. They can purchase a bag of raw material, sand and dirt, and bring it over to the sluice, cleanse it in the pan and wash it out and discover what secrets are inside of it. They never know what they'll find. Some of them hold fossils, some of them hold minerals, some of them hold crystals. And being able to take a pile of sand and dirt and discover the secrets inside is fun for everyone.
Especially when miners learn what their find is worth at the Nature Exchange.
After they do the sluice material, they can bring it up to the Nature Exchange. We'll trade out some pieces with them. So it introduces them to the program, introduces them to rocks and minerals, really introduces them to science in the big picture.
In our welcome gallery, the whole sluicing show is up and running every weekend, but geode crackers can rock out any time the preserve is open.
The sluice is a little bit more involved, so we do that on weekends and holidays, but the geodes are available any day of the week. Monday through Friday, come on down to the Nature Exchange and we can let them break open a rock and discover the treasures inside. And the sluice material is something that's, available on weekends right here in the middle of the Springs Preserve.
On tap for the fall of 2017 is the opening of our new Waterworks exhibit, which will be the ultimate interactive experience of Las Vegas Valley innovations and global advances in plumbing, pumping, and protecting the well springs of this precious resource that was the original attraction at the preserve and is still worth our consideration as its human stewards. Visit springspreserve.org for more information. It's been 10 eventful years since the Springs Preserve first opened its doors to reveal an ideal combination of monument, museum, campus, park, and garden. But what gave it real and vibrant life were the contributions of community members who embraced the concept and made it their own with every visit and so many cherished memories. There's a lot more to discover, so join us next time here at the Springs Preserve, where our rich history, flight plans, artful engineering, and regal plant kingdom mingle to bring new life to Las Vegas.